I remember a woman once telling me, "Louise, I say yes to everyone, all the time, but inside I'm screaming no." And as she spoke, her voice trembled, not from weakness, but from the exhaustion of living a life that didn't belong to her anymore. You see, every yes that betrays your truth quietly chips away at your peace. It's like giving little pieces of yourself away until one day you wake up and realize there's almost nothing left. We've all been there, haven't we? Saying yes because we want to be liked. Yes because we don't want to disappoint. Yes because we were taught that good people always say yes. But my dear, you were never meant to please everyone. You were meant to please your soul. From the time we were children, many of us learned that love was conditional. Love came when we were quiet, obedient, and agreeable. We were praised for being good, not for being honest. And slowly, we began to believe that approval was the same as love. But love that requires you to betray yourself is not love. It's performance. It's survival. It's fear, disguised as kindness. You see, people-pleasing looks gentle on the outside, but it's violent on the inside. Because every time you say yes when you mean no, you abandon yourself. Every time you silence your truth to keep the peace, you break your own heart a little more. And my dear, your soul cannot heal in an environment where it is constantly silenced. I want you to take a moment to think about this. How many times have you said yes just to avoid the discomfort of saying no? How many times have you agreed, even when your whole body was saying, "Please don't"? You can't fake alignment. The body always knows when you are betraying your own truth. It tightens, it contracts, it whispers, "This isn't right for me." And yet, we push past those whispers, don't we? Because we think that being nice means being silent. But the truth is, you can be kind and still say no. You can be loving and still set boundaries. In fact, saying no when your heart means no is the most loving thing you can do, both for yourself and for others. Because when you betray yourself, resentment grows, and resentment is poison for the soul. When faced with resentment or guilt, always choose guilt ways. Resentment poisons the soul. I said those words many years ago, and I still stand by them today. You see, guilt is temporary. It fades as you learn that saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sovereign. But resentment stays. It festers. It builds walls between you and others, and even worse, between you and your own heart. When you say no to what doesn't align with your truth, you are saying yes to your peace. When you say no to something that drains you, you are saying yes to your healing. When you say no to what harms your spirit, you are saying yes to your wholeness. That's not rejection, that's self-respect. I want you to imagine a new way of living, one where every yes is honest and every no is sacred. A life where you don't chase approval, but live from authenticity. That is freedom. That is healing. So here's a little practice, something I want you to start doing, just to retrain that beautiful mind of yours. The next time someone asks you for something, a favor, an invitation, a request, don't rush to answer. Take a deep breath and say gently, "Let me think about it and get back to you." That pause is power. It gives you space to listen to your inner wisdom instead of reacting from fear. Then tune in, close your eyes, ask your body, "How do I feel about this?" If your heart expands, it's probably a yes, but if your chest tightens or your stomach sinks, that's your truth whispering no. And when you know it's a no, my dear, honor it. Say it calmly, say it clearly, say it kindly. You don't need to over-explain or apologize. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion as proof of your goodness. Try this. No, thank you. That doesn't work for me right now. That's it. That's a full sentence. At first, you may feel guilty. That's natural. You've spent years, maybe even decades, conditioning yourself to please others. Of course, it feels strange to honor yourself. But remember this. Guilt is not truth. Guilt is habit. The discomfort you feel is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're doing something new. Your mind might whisper, they'll be disappointed, and maybe they will. But disappointment is not your responsibility. People who love you will adjust. People who truly care will understand. And those who only valued you for what you could give will drift away, and that's okay. Because your peace was never meant to be a bargaining chip. My dear, saying no doesn't close doors. It opens the right ones. It makes space for what's real, for what nourishes you, for what brings you joy. It teaches the world how to treat you, not through force, but through example. You show others how to honor your boundaries by honoring them yourself. Let's make this practical. Think of one person or situation in your life where you've been saying yes out of obligation. Maybe it's a friend who drains your energy. Maybe it's extra work that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's a relationship where you keep shrinking to stay loved. Write it down. And beneath it, write this affirmation. I lovingly release the need to please. I am safe to honor my truth. Feel that shift in your body. Feel how the air gets lighter when you stop carrying everyone else's expectations. Feel the relief of not having to pretend anymore, because you were never meant to twist yourself into someone else's version of lovable. The people who are meant for you, the ones who truly belong in your life, will never require you to betray yourself to keep their love. They will celebrate your no as much as your yes, because they'll understand that both come from a place of truth. When you begin to live this way, something beautiful happens. Your relationships become cleaner, clearer, more authentic. The right people stay, the wrong ones fade, and your energy begins to rise. Your body feels lighter, your mind feels calmer, and your heart, your beautiful, resilient heart, begins to trust you again. You stop needing everyone else's approval because you finally have your own. And that, my love, is what healing feels like. So let's speak this truth together, softly but with conviction. I am safe to say no. I am safe to honor my truth. I release the need to please others. I choose what brings peace to my soul. Let those words become your daily mantra. Let them rebuild the bridge between who you are and who you were meant to be. Because life doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. And when you begin to live from that place of honesty, you'll notice something remarkable. You don't lose love, you attract real love. You don't lose people, you find your people. You don't lose peace, you become peace. My dear, you were never created to please the world. You were created to bring your light into it. And that light shines brightest when you stop dimming it for others. So the next time your heart whispers no, trust it, because your soul always knows the way home. Let's talk about this together, my dear. Let's talk about the quiet habit so many of us carry, the habit of apologizing for simply existing. Have you noticed how easily those words slip out? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took up your time. I'm sorry I can't do more. I'm sorry I need to rest. We sprinkle apologies through our conversations like nervous confetti, not even realizing what we're really saying. I'm sorry for being me. You see, people who've spent a lifetime pleasing others often apologize for everything, for being tired, for saying no, for needing help, for showing emotion. Somewhere deep inside, they learned that to be loved, they must be small, that to be accepted, they must disappear a little. But love, true love, never asks you to vanish. Real love says, come as you are. You have a right to say no without feeling guilty. You also have a right to rest without explaining, a right to feel your feelings without justification, a right to take up space without apology. You have a right simply because you exist. When you constantly apologize for your needs, your boundaries, or your presence, what you're really communicating to the universe is, I don't believe I'm allowed to be here. But my dear, you were born with permission. You came into this life stamped with worthiness. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to shrink to keep it. You are allowed to take up as much space as your soul requires. Let's gently explore why we do this. Most people who over-apologize learned it early. Maybe as a child, you were scolded for asking too much. Maybe you were taught that good girls and boys don't complain, don't make waves, don't say no. Maybe you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional. If I'm polite enough, helpful enough, quiet enough, then I'll be safe. So now, as an adult, that little child inside of you still tries to stay safe by saying, I'm sorry, before anyone can be upset. But here's the truth. You are not that frightened child anymore. You are an adult who can choose differently now. You no longer need to apologize for taking care of yourself. You no longer need to shrink so others feel comfortable. You no longer need to beg for the right to exist. Every unnecessary, I'm sorry you speak, weakens your energy just a little. It tells your subconscious that you are wrong for having needs, wrong for resting, wrong for existing. But you are not wrong. You are human. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to need help. You are allowed to breathe, to feel, to exist fully and freely. So let's begin to heal this habit. Here's a beautiful and gentle practice. Every time you catch yourself about to say, I'm sorry, pause and breathe. Then replace those words with gratitude. Instead of, sorry I'm late, try saying, thank you for waiting. Instead of, sorry I can't help, say, thank you for understanding. Instead of, sorry I talk too much, say, thank you for listening. Do you feel the difference? I'm sorry lowers your energy. It contracts your heart. Thank you expands it. I'm sorry focuses on guilt. Thank you focuses on appreciation. And appreciation is the energy of abundance. Every time you replace apology with gratitude, you raise your vibration and you invite others to meet you there, in mutual respect instead of silent guilt. Now, I want you to take out a notebook and write down 3 things about yourself you will no longer apologize for. Maybe it's your sensitivity. Maybe it's your loud laughter. Maybe it's your need for quiet mornings, or your decision to rest instead of rush. Write them down and then speak them out loud. I no longer apologize for my sensitivity. It is my superpower. I no longer apologize for needing rest. It is how I recharge. I no longer apologize for being me. I am allowed to exist as I am. My dear, when you stop apologizing for who you are, something powerful begins to shift inside of you. You stop waiting for permission to be yourself. You stop editing your presence. You begin to take up your rightful space in the world. And when you do that, you don't become arrogant. You become authentic. You don't push others away. You teach them how to stand beside you in truth. This is not about being rude or unkind. It's about balance. It's about living from self-respect, not self-erasure. When you truly love yourself, you naturally treat others with more love too. Because when you stop being at war with yourself, you stop projecting that war onto others. Let me remind you, you are not a burden. You are a blessing. Your presence brings value to this world. Your needs are valid. Your feelings are real. Your voice matters. And when you honor yourself, you show others that it's safe for them to do the same. Think of this like energetic alignment. When you constantly apologize for existing, you vibrate at the frequency of unworthiness. But when you replace apology with gratitude, you shift into worthiness, the frequency of love. And love always attracts love. Let's practice this together. Close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and place your hand on your heart. Whisper softly, "My needs are valid. My voice matters. I'm allowed to take up space in this world." Feel how your chest opens just a little more. That's your energy expanding to match your truth. Now imagine a younger version of yourself standing in front of you, maybe 5 years old, maybe 10. They're holding their breath, worried they'll say the wrong thing, afraid of taking up too much room. Look at that child and tell them, you don't have to apologize anymore. You are loved exactly as you are. Let that love flow through you. Let it rewrite the story that said you had to earn your place here. You were born enough. You were born worthy. You were born with the right to exist freely. And remember, my dear, when you stop apologizing for existing, you invite the world to see the real you. The world can't truly love what it doesn't truly see. But when you show up as your authentic self, without apology, love finds you naturally. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. So today, make this your practice. Notice your apologies. Transform them into gratitude. Speak kindly to yourself. Stand tall in your worth. You do not need to apologize for breathing, for needing rest, for asking questions, for changing, for being you. Because the truth is, you were never the problem. You were simply taught to believe you were too much or not enough. But you were always exactly right. Repeat this with me now, as an affirmation of freedom. I no longer apologize for existing. I thank life for allowing me to be here. My needs are sacred. My boundaries are love in action. My presence is a gift. Feel that. Breathe it in. Because the world doesn't need a smaller version of you. It needs you, whole, unapologetic, and alive. And when you live that truth, when you walk into the world with quiet confidence and an open heart, you don't just heal yourself. You give others permission to do the same. So, my dear, go gently but firmly into your next conversation, your next decision, your next day, not with apology, but with gratitude, because you belong here, because you matter, because you always have. Setting a boundary, my dear, is like tending a beautiful garden. You don't build fences to keep the flowers from growing. You build them to protect what is precious from being trampled. You don't say no because you don't care. You say no because you finally do. Boundaries are bridges of self-love. They don't shut people out. They teach them how to love you properly. So many of us were taught that having boundaries means being cold, selfish, or distant. But that's not true at all. Boundaries are love in action, love for yourself and love for others. They create clarity where confusion used to live. They protect your peace, your time, and your energy. They are not walls. They are gates with clear signs that say, "This is how to treat me." Think about it like this. If you never lock your door, you can't complain when strangers walk in. Life works the same way. When you don't clearly express your limits, people will assume you have none. And that's not because they are cruel. It's because you never showed them where the line was. When I say, "I don't take work calls after 8 p.m., I'm not rejecting anyone. I'm simply honoring my peace. When I say, "I can't attend events that drain me," I'm not being difficult. I'm protecting my energy so I can give from a full cup. Every time you honor your boundaries, you tell your inner child, "You are safe now. You don't have to overgive to be loved." You see, many people who struggle with boundaries grew up in environments where saying no was punished. Maybe you were called rude, ungrateful, or selfish for simply having needs. Maybe you learned that love had to be earned through compliance. But my dear, love built on obedience is not love, it's control. You are allowed to have preferences. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to protect your peace without feeling guilty. I want you to remember this. When you don't set boundaries, you're not keeping the peace. You're keeping the illusion of peace. Real peace cannot exist in a space where your soul feels unseen and unheard. And here's the truth. When you refuse to speak your truth, resentment will. Boundaries are not punishments. They are instructions. They show others how to treat you, and they show you how much you value yourself. When you finally say, "This is enough," you are not creating distance. You are creating respect. When you say, "I can't give more right now," you are teaching others that your love has integrity. It might surprise you, but boundaries actually deepen love. They keep relationships clean, healthy, and honest. Without boundaries, relationships rot under the weight of resentment. With boundaries, love has room to breathe. If someone only loves you when you have no boundaries, they don't love you. They love your compliance. Let's take a moment together. Close your eyes and think of 3 situations that often drain your energy. Maybe it's someone who always calls you in crisis, but never asks how you are. Maybe it's a coworker who expects you to fix their problems. Maybe it's a habit of saying yes when you're already exhausted. Whatever it is, take a breath and write it down. Now, next to each one, write a boundary that protects your peace. I don't discuss personal issues during work hours. I don't respond to texts after bedtime. I can't attend every gathering. I choose what feels peaceful. Feel how powerful that is. That's not selfishness. That's self-respect. And every time you uphold one of those boundaries, you are reparenting the version of you who once thought she had to give everything away to be loved. You're whispering to her, "You matter. Your needs matter. Your peace matters." Now, will everyone like your boundaries? Probably not. But that's okay. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to live in alignment with yourself. If someone withdraws their affection because you've drawn a line, that's not love you're losing. It's manipulation you're releasing. People who truly love you will adjust. They'll respect your needs because they want to see you peaceful, not depleted. Let's be honest, boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes all the time. But discomfort is not danger. It's growth. Every time you say, "No, this doesn't work for me," you stretch your capacity to love yourself. You teach your nervous system that it's safe to have limits. You shift from survival mode to self-honoring mode. I want to share something that may stay with you for a long time. When you don't set boundaries, you teach others that you don't deserve respect. That may sound harsh, but it's a sacred truth. You cannot expect others to honor what you continually ignore. Your boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about controlling what you allow. And that, my dear, is your true power. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to you. Access is earned through trust, respect, and reciprocity. If you keep giving to those who only take, you're not being generous. You're being drained. Your love deserves a structure that keeps it sacred. Now take another deep breath with me. Place your hand over your heart and repeat softly. Every time I honor my boundaries, I heal my inner child. Say it again. Every time I honor my boundaries, I teach the world how to love me. Doesn't that feel grounding? Because boundaries don't break connection. They build healthier ones. They invite mutual respect instead of silent resentment. They say, I care about you, and I care about me too. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's comfort. You are responsible for protecting your own energy so you can share your gifts from a place of fullness. When you live without boundaries, you pour from an empty cup. When you live with them, your love overflows, clean, calm, and genuine. So remember this, my dear. If someone loses interest when you set boundaries, they were only interested in what you could give them, not in who you truly are. But when you stand firm in your truth, the right people, the ones who value your peace, will come closer. They will honor your space because they can feel the self-respect radiating from you. Your peace is your responsibility. Your energy is sacred. And your no is not rejection. It's redirection toward what feels right. Boundaries are not the end of love. They are the beginning of real, sustainable, wholehearted love. This is the final part of our talk today, my dear. And I want you to take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, and really let these words sink in. You've listened, reflected, and opened your heart to truth. And now we arrive at the essence of it all. Healing begins when you choose yourself. You see, so many of us were raised to believe that love means sacrifice, that to be a good person, a good friend, a good partner, we must always put others first. But that belief, while noble in appearance, often leaves us empty. You cannot give from an empty vessel. You cannot pour from a dry well. Choosing yourself is not abandonment of others. It's an act of alignment with life. Loving yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. Every time you choose yourself, you raise your energy. You tune into the frequency of peace. You tell the universe, I am ready to receive what is meant for me. Because life cannot deliver blessings to a closed heart, to a spirit constantly depleted from overgiving. But when you love yourself, truly, intentionally, gently, you create the conditions for miracles. Each small act of self-love is a declaration of healing. When you sleep enough, you restore your spirit. When you rest without guilt, you declare, my body deserves peace. When you say no with confidence, you remind yourself, my boundaries are holy. And when you look in the mirror and whisper, I love myself enough to do what's right for my soul, the entire energy around you shifts. The people who are meant to walk beside you feel that energy. Calm, grounded, clear. Remember, the way you love yourself teaches others how to love you. When you treat yourself with gentleness, people learn to handle you with care. When you speak to yourself with respect, others rise to match that tone. When you prioritize your well-being, You give silent permission for everyone around you to do the same. That's how your healing becomes a ripple, one loving boundary at a time. So I want you to do this small but powerful exercise. This week, choose 3 acts of self-love. Maybe it's taking that nap you've delayed. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains your peace. Maybe it's finally taking a day just for yourself. No guilt, no apologies. Write them down. Commit to them. Not because someone told you to, but because your soul is asking you to. And as you do these things, notice what happens inside you. Notice how your body feels lighter, your mind quieter, your emotions softer. That's not coincidence. That's energy aligning. That's you returning home to yourself. Because here's the truth. You can't heal in a life that constantly asks you to betray yourself. You can't find peace while you keep saying yes to what your heart rejects. You can't expand while you keep shrinking to make others comfortable. Healing asks you to stand in your truth, to honor your boundaries, to make peace with the word no, and to choose your own well-being over external approval. When you stop living for validation, you start living from love. When you stop trying to fit in, you start belonging to yourself. When you stop pleasing, you start healing. So as we close, let's gather the wisdom we've shared today. Stop saying yes when your soul says no. Guilt fades, resentment poisons. Always choose guilt over resentment. Boundaries are love in action. Saying no is not rejection, it's redirection toward peace. And most importantly, healing begins when you choose yourself first. You don't need permission to rest. You don't need approval to protect your peace. You don't need to prove your worth by being everything to everyone. You are already worthy. You are already enough. You are already whole. Let's close together with a few affirmations. Say them slowly, gently, as if you're soothing your own heart. I no longer betray myself for acceptance. I honor my truth, my energy, and my peace. I love myself enough to do what's right for my soul. Let those words become your prayer for the week. Let them guide your choices, your voice, your rhythm. And if you've listened all the way to this moment, I want to bless you deeply, sincerely. May you wake up tomorrow feeling lighter. May you walk through the day with quiet confidence. May you remember that your worth is not measured by how much you do, but by how fully you love yourself. May peace follow you, surround you, and grow within you. You deserve a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. So choose yourself, my dear, again and again and again, because when you do, you don't just heal yourself. You teach the world what real love looks like.